Hi, I'm Laura Sherwood, the Firefly Stamper from Salisbury, New Brunswick, Canada. I'm so glad you've joined me today in my series on Christmas cards. Today we are going to be doing a book fold. So let's get to it and let me show you how we put this Christmas card, together. So just before we get started, I want to mention the items that I've used. The designer series paper in this particular card is here. It comes in a 6x6. It is called Tidings of Christmas, order code 155718. And it is actually in the annual catalog, and it is on page 133. Called Tidings of Christmas. So if you have an annual catalog, or if you'd like one, let me know and I'll certainly mail one out if you live in Canada. As well, I am using a early release Eden's Garden 12 by 12 paper. It's gorgeous. I've shown all of it in other videos earlier, so I won't show it again. But it is called Ever Eden. It's 12 by 12, order code 159996. And it is a gorgeous paper. I love it. It's only available while supplies last. As well, in these cards, for this particular dies, for the berries and the holly, I've used seasonal label dies, and they come match up with the Christmas season stamp set, which I've really enjoyed and really loved. And as well, for the Merry Christmas on this card, I used for Onto Us, and I really like this Merry Christmas. It's really sweet. I've used it a lot. As well, for the Merry Christmas on this card, I have used Arrange a Wreath, has seasonal greetings, and they have one Merry Christmas. So that is the one I used there. So I wanted to mention that. Now for the Onto Us, I also used this greeting on the inside. Now, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but I got the label for the stamp on backwards. Or not on backwards, but I got it on uneven. And so I wanted to show you how I would stamp this particular card with the inside cardstock because it's crooked. I took my Stamparatus, which is here, and the Stamparatus, as you see, is well used. I cut a piece of scrap paper, so it's actually graph paper, as you can see here. And I thought I'm going to figure out, and I've already stamped both sides of this one, but I thought I'm going to figure out where to place it. So I took several sheets, and until I had it in just the spot I wanted it, and then I could see that it was straight. And then I inked up my stamp, and then I stamped my greeting. So, and this is also not only good when you have something on crooked, but it's also great when you're going to be doing multiple cards. So I wanted to mention that to you. So let's get started, and I'll go over the size of the materials that I used for this particular card. So it's a standard 8.5 by 5.5 sheet of cardstock. This is Cherry Cobbler. Now this particular one is 5.5, as I mentioned, by 8.5. Now I want to note where the score marks are. So we have score marks at 4.25 and a score mark at 5.25. So there's an inch more here. So that is going to give me what we call the book fold. Now when you think of a book, you may think of a book that comes this way, obviously, but we are doing the horizontal version. So the book fold is going to be like this. So that's our book fold. As well, we have designer series paper on the front. Just give me a second here and I'll put it over in your preview. And I want to, and the other thing I didn't mention is I used the scalloped dies in this as well. I find this is a great dies. Now there are dies on sale presently till the 18th if you're interested in ordering dies. So they come in multiple sizes, which is really, really convenient for trying to get a nice dark color behind, then a light color for stamping on the front. And I was just poking out some of the holes that I'd already punched. Now the designer series paper, Tidings of Christmas, is 3 inches wide and 5.25 wide this way and 3 inches this way. As well, the DSP for the top of the book fold is 3/4 inches by 5.25, so that's great to have. And the first thing I'm going to do in this is I'm going to actually stamp, so I just have that done. I am going to stamp my sentiment, my Merry Christmas, and when I stamp this, I want to stamp it off to the right not as far as I can, but over towards the right so I can have room for the holly and the berries. I'm using Evening Evergreen. Get that open, and I'm going to load my ink. I'm always telling people not to press hard because you'll get so much going on the edges. You may this way as well, but not as likely. And then I'm going to stamp that off, I said, to the right, so I have room for the holly and the berries. So there we go. I'll close my stamp set, and I'm going to use my simple chamois to clean my stamp. I love the simple chamois. I find it's very convenient. I actually cut mine down so it fits well in my hand, and I always have a clean, and not that they go for a while, but I have a clean one to use by having them cut down and having multiple ones wet. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is I would have already put in my inside. The inside is 5.25 by 3 as well. So when I glue this in, I want to make sure I have the same border here around the edge, and I don't want to go past the where the score lines are up here. Now I am going to just do, not that you have to do this because you're going to be punching and putting a ribbon in to hold it, but I'm just going to put a little bit of Stampin' Seal on this just to hold it down. I just found it was a little easier to work with. Then I'm going to be burnishing this for the inside in a few minutes. I'm as well going to put on my Designer Series paper on the front, so we'll get some adhesive here. I use the Stampin' Seal. So now always watch if you have a up and down direction of your Designer Series paper. This one here doesn't really have that. It can go either way. And I like my graph paper because it helps me to see that the card is relatively straight. And then I'm going to try to get borders that are both the same all the way around. Now I'm going to put the Designer Series paper here. And here we go. And I'm going to put this. And I want the edges to match up on either end, what's below and what's above. So there we go. So that's done. I'm also going to punch holes here. Now when I punched my holes, and we can match it up here, I have it at about 1 inch apart, the holes. And what I did is now for some people they want to use a ruler, and you can use a ruler. I just eyed it, and I'm going to put a hole about there and one about here. And I know those ink marks are going to be gone because I'm using my hole punch. And now you may have a fancier way to punch holes. This is what I have available to me, and so I'm going to, and you do it about center. So there's one, and then this one about there, and there we go. Our holes are punched. I've got a piece of ribbon that measures about 9 inches, and I am just going to loop this through the back, and here, and here. Now, if you want, you can tie a knot first before you tie your bow. So whichever way you find most convenient for you, the easiest for you to tie a bow. And I am going to endeavor just to tie a bow. So there's one edge. And this is just a traditional way of tying a bow. And then another. You can play with it after you get it tied, really. I just want to make sure it's tight. And then I'm just going to pull the ribbon according to which direction it needs to go in. There we go. And I'll probably trim the ends here on my bow as well. Now my scissors aren't particularly sharp, but I will endeavor to trim them nonetheless. I need to get another pair of scissors and use just one pair for cutting ribbon and so forth. So there's my bow. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to get one of my scalloped rectangles that I've cut with the scalloped dies. The dies in the annual catalog are on sale at the present time till the 18th of November. So this may be something you may want to invest in. And so here is my first one. first scalloped rectangle, then this one I'm going to put dimensionals on. I'm going to use 2. Now I do put in the description below my video. I will put in the link to my store if you are interested in these products. I also will post this directions on my blog, and that gives all the order numbers if you would like to order anything through my store. And I actually have a November host code if you're interested in ordering. But if you're going to order $200 or more, message me, because I'll give you some, you can get the host rewards, not me. And I'd like you to get the host rewards. So you can do the what works for you. Tearing off the extra there. When I go to put my holly and berries together, give me a second here, I am going to figure out which side of the die is the top, which direction I want to have it in. Also, this is the top side because it's a little bit rounded here as opposed to the back. And actually I look like I have, I have forgotten that I had actually put some adhesive sheets on the back of this, so I don't even need that. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to take this one, and I have an adhesive sheet on this. I had cut all these out earlier, and but if I wasn't going to use an adhesive sheet, I would definitely use the glue dots. So there we go. So we're just going to do that. And then I'm going to take my berry, which are here. Now you can do the 4 berries if you like, or whichever direction you like them in. You can do 4 berries. Now personally I kind of like the 3 berries, so I'm just going to cut this one off. Although someone told me it looked like Mickey Mouse, so I'm not sure if it looks like Mickey Mouse or not, but it probably does, the shape of it, I guess. And I'm going to put on my berries, so wherever you want those, there's my berries, and voila, our card is completed. As simple as that. So again, this is called a book fold. I already stamped and put my greeting on the inside, and I want to show you the other card that is super simple as well. I have one here for you to look at as we get the other one together. The sizes are the same, and so it's not the difference. The only difference in this card is I have a piece of shimmer vellum in the soft succulent, and this here is basically very close to this size, a little wider. So let me see how wide that is for you. I don't have my ruler. There we go. So this one I would say is about 7/8 wide. So that's 7/8 wide. And so the first thing we're going to do is put on our designer series paper, and I use my Stampin' Seal. And again, there's no direction to my designer series paper, so I don't have to worry about which direction to put it on. I just want to, make sure that I have, it went down before I wanted it to go down. There we go. I want to make sure that it is basically the border is about the same on the sides and the bottom. So there we go. And of course you don't want it to go above the score line, which the size, if you do this, it should be fine. And then I'm going to put this designer series paper on the top. So pretty, eh? The gold is very, very nice. Yeah. Now what would look really pretty as well is to gold emboss this piece to put on the front, Merry Christmas or something. You could do it that way as well. So because we are not putting any holes in this to hold it down, we need to take our book fold, and we're going to burnish this with my bone folder, and we're going to apply, so you can now see where that spot is, we're going to apply some adhesive. So we're using the Stampin' Seal adhesive, and that'll hold it down instead of poking the holes in and putting a ribbon in. So there you go. So the next thing I want to do is to put this on. And this is cut from the Eden dies. And they're an early release, as I said, from the January the January to June catalog, and we're going to put this, oh, before we put that on, forgot I have this piece. So this is our shimmer vellum, so I'm going to put glue dots on either end of the shimmer vellum to hold it down. It is transparent, so I'm using 2 on either end. You probably could get away with 1 on either end, but I'm using 2. Sorry, I'm out of your preview there as I try to get my glue dots on this. There's another, and there's another. And it's going to run the width of the DSP. I'm actually going to put it just a little above center, and there we go. And the reason I do that is because if I were to get it right on center or get it just down below center, I think it would look, wouldn't like the look of it as well. So I always think, well, if I can put it just a little tad above center, then it's going to look the way I want it to, at least. Now, this lovely little cutout banner is from the Garden of Eden dies, and we're just going to center it the best we can. There we go. I've already stamped with the Arrange a Wreath Merry Christmas. You could put dimensionals on this if you wanted to. I'm using Stampin' Seal. And again, I'm just going to have it arranged so there's a little bit of green above and below, just to highlight the Merry Christmas, which is also stamped in the Evening Evergreen. Then I'm going to take my bow and I'm going to trim my edges a little bit, give a nice little point to those, and because my scissors are dull, it's easier actually to do it before I add it to the card. There we go. Now we're going to take one of my glue dots and we're going to put it on the back, and we're going to add this bow to our card. And there we go. Here's another Christmas card completed. So I hope you've enjoyed this book fold. It was fun to do, easy to do, as you can see, and just a little bit of designer series paper, a little bit of ribbon, and we're really good to go. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to check out my blog, the Firefly Stamper, and that's also where I'll list all of the directions for this card. Thank you.